What is up, the Ginger League? Welcome back to Super Ginge. Well, you may notice, my friends, that we have 3 people on the screen. We're expanding our roster. We're bringing in guests left, right, and centre. And I thought I'd bring in fellow comedian, fellow DC nerd, Jimi Longmuir. Jimmy, how you doing, my friend?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
I see that you've came prepared with your certain memorabilia in the background.
It's always there. Always there.
Last time that you were on, for anybody that's watching, Jimmy was on that Mental Ginger show as my guest, and he had Green Lantern in the back as well. This time he's given the wee teasers of what could potentially be coming. And of course, we have my co-host / Padawan, Kevin Tierney. Kev, how you doing, my man?
Not too bad. Been brushing up on my superheroes. So.
Yep, and
feeling good.
Yep. What you working on it?
Working on it.
In fairness, like you're one especially, like you can tie in because you could just like go at the kids, right? Watch this TV show, and I'm going to take some notes.
That's true. I could.
Yeah, definitely, man. Because as they've probably guessed by now, like all my followers, we like to mix it up a little bit and take superheroes from any genre. And since I knew that Jimmy was a big DC fan, I thought that he should have the main man of the DC universe, and that is Superman. The one who Jimmy has made a valid point that outright beats Batman. And it was a very interesting point, which you can touch on later. And poor Kev, I've gave him it's a 2-on-1, so it's like a handicap match, but technically I think Superman could still kick their asses. It is Merman and Barnacle Boy from Spongebob Squarepants. Now, be honest, Kev, how excited were you when you got that casting? Considering that you were the one that suggested it.
It was. I put them in the hat and I got them, so I'll fight for them.
He did indeed. I don't think he'd expected to go up against the Man of Steel, though.
No, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. Well,
I'll do my best.
Aye. Well, we've got to, for a couple of recordings now, you've pulled out what is now known as the Nick Cage card. And that is for anybody that's been following along in a couple of episodes now, when Kev's been pulling out a point that when you think you've got him on the ropes, he'll blast you with some fact that totally shuts down your entire argument. And I started saying, you Nick Caged me. Because it was based on an argument about Ghost Rider. So I was like, you Nick Caged me. So we actually now have the graphic laid out. I will put it up on the screen probably at this point in the videos, just so everybody can see our Nick Cage moment card, which Kev's already seen. He's approved of. We've had to change the color of his flames for copyright reasons, so I don't get sued. But aside for that, it's all good. So let's see you've got 2 at the minute for Nick Cage moments. Let's see if you can get any more.
I'll do my best.
Yeah. So how you feeling, Jimmy? Are you feeling quietly confident, or are you feeling outwardly confident?
I don't know. I mean, as you said, we spoke about Superman before, so I'm quite confident in the idea that Superman trumps all heroes.
Well, we shall see if he even trumps Merman and Barnacle Boy. So for anybody that is new to the channel, first of all, like and subscribe. What the hell are you doing here? And you're new. You're missing out on this brilliant content, man. You're missing out on all these epic fights with heroes from SpongeBob. And we'll also go through the ground rules, the three rounds that each person will be fighting for. So the first round is cultural relevance, and that is how either of their superheroes or supervillains, because we do have vicious villains on the go now as well. It's how they have represented and shaped the pop culture zeitgeist, how well they're known, the impact that they've had on pop culture, social media, etc., etc. Then we move on to round 2, which is abilities. These can both be physical and mental abilities, and see who would come out the stronger. And if we have to go to a tie-break round, we have universal significance. This is the one that seems to trip people up, but the way I always phrase it is, if you took that person that you're fighting for out of their respective worlds and their respective universes, how would the universe survive without them? So, as we always use from the example of the first one, how would Batman survive if he was plucked out of DC? How would Deadpool survive if he was plucked out of the MCU, Marvel, etc., etc.? So, we all clear on the rules, guys?
Yep.
Ready to fight? Ready to roll?
Ready?
Yes. Well, so, and since Kev and Jimmy will be going up against it, I will have to be the adjudicator, and it will purely be based on the arguments made. It will not be about any of my own personal opinions towards the characters. It'll be how well you two present the arguments. So let's start with round one, cultural relevance. Well, and Jimmy, since you are the guest of the show, we're going to let you kick off. How do you feel that Superman has impacted the world culturally?
Massively. He's like the original superhero, created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster in 1938. And genuinely, I didn't read Wikipedia before this.
Oh, you are a Wikipedia, Jimmy, when it comes to DC.
But it's just, I mean, he's been going since the start. He basically kicked off the comics revolution, and he's just the original superhero. What we were talking about before as well, but everybody likes Batman. Batman's cooler. Batman's got all the toys and all the insane criminal enemies and stuff, or villains. But with Superman, he's just he's got the ultimate power. He's the most powerful person that you can imagine. His powers have been upgraded every time in every kind of zeitgeist since 1938. But he just remains Superman. He remains basically this kind of humble guy, Clark Kent, who was sent to this planet by desperate scientists because their civilization was dying. And the best thing about Superman to me, and I think to a lot of people, is that he's incorruptible. He's got all that power. He could basically be a tyrant, but he isn't. You know, he chooses to live the sort of humble life of a reporter in Metropolis or in Smallville, whatever. And he's just all about kind of good. And he's, in a lot of senses, even though he died in the 90s and stuff, and he had the Crisis and Infinite Earths and all of that, he's undefeatable. And he's really just not pure.
Well, for a good big DC fan like yourself, what do you make of the Injustice arcs where, Justice League essentially goes dark?
I kind of disagree with a lot of that. I've even got issues with Kingdom Come Superman.
I'm very intrigued by this one. It's a slight tangent, but it'll show your knowledge. Enlighten. What's your points in Kingdom Come Superman?
It's not. I mean, it's a great idea. It looks and sounds great and stuff, and it's really good. But specifically with Injustice, like just because the Joker killed Lois Lane and Superman just decides to become a tyrant, it's like it doesn't really make sense. And I think Injustice is an evolution of the Kingdom Come Superman. You know, it looks absolutely great. This older Superman who's taking a bit of a tougher stance and whatever, but it takes away from the central idea of Superman.
You think it's like the Injustice version of Superman is kind of like essentially what happened to Anakin going into Darth Vader? It was like, oh, it's a woman's fault. I'm now a tyrant.
Well, I mean, it was not really a woman's fault. It was the Joker that killed Lois Lane.
Yeah, I mean, if you break it down, though, it's the case of like Anakin is like, oh, I need to try and find a way to save my woman, to save my wife. And goes total dark side. Is like, yeah, try to turn you against me, and then all of a sudden it's like everything just blows up, and then he becomes like Darth Vader. And it's essentially the same kind of deal. It's because he loses. Obviously, spoiler alert for anybody that's not watched Star Wars. Like Padme dies of sadness. Weak excuse.
Watch all of Star Wars before you watch Obi-Wan Kenobi this week.
Definitely, like blast through every bit of content that you can, because it is just crazy. It's one hell of a ride. It's the same kind of deal. It was like Joker kills Lois Lane, and Superman just goes, right, I've had enough. Punch straight through the chest, dead. Okay, now I'm an evil tyrant. Now I'm the guy from The Boys.
Also, as well, I think like the Injustice Superman as well. It's almost like he goes down that tyrant alley to escape paying the consequences of killing the Joker. He's like, oh fuck it, I've killed one, I might as well just go fucking daft and take over the world and stuff. Whereas the Superman that I know that I believe is the essence of Superman would take responsibility for that. Go, shit, man, I killed that guy. Do you know what? I better go to like the Fortress of Solitude prison or something. I better jump into the Phantom Zone voluntarily.
So what did you make of like the Man of Steel where he snapped Zod's neck? Were you one of the ones that went in uproar about it?
I wasn't in an uproar about it. I liked it. I thought Man of Steel was good. Was really really good. And the music, the Hans Zimmer music was fucking amazing for it.
Yeah.
It was really really good music. I've still got the sketchbook. I listen to it all the time when I'm editing photos, and then along with the Dark Knight music. But
yeah, there's a lot of whams with that type of music. It's like wham. Always just seems to be the general gist. It's wham.
Yeah, man. No, I thought Man of Steel was good.
Yeah, I really like Henry Cavill as Superman. Well, in fairness, like I think he's been done a major disservice when it comes to. Well, I also thought Brandon Routh was good as Superman. I like how he got a shot at redemption in that DC Arrowverse arc. So,
and he got to be Kingdom Come Superman, the first ever kind of live action Kingdom Come Superman.
Exactly, and it was scary how well he suited that part. Well, he was just really, really good. So we've Jimmy, you've managed to stall us for time until we got Kev back because he dropped out for a second and then came back in. I think he was probably doing some swatting up in Merman and Barnacle Boy. Right. So Kev, give us
asking for a different hero because he knows he's fucked.
Yeah, he's probably his next time he'll be like, why the hell did I pick him? Why did I pick them? Thinking it would be a 2-on-1.
Whole thing only exists because you've seen Stand By Me too many times with like Superman could beat Mighty Mouse. Like
right. So what do you think for Merman and Barnacle Boy, Kev? Like, obviously you've got kids same as me, you watch SpongeBob, same as me. How many injuries have you suffered from watching SpongeBob? Obviously, we talked off air about how Connor busted my eye wide open watching SpongeBob. The audacity of them having 2 episodes back to back. So, in your life, what has Merman and Barnacle Boy brought to you?
Well, Merman and Barnacle Boy are the biggest superheroes in Bikini Bottom. In fact, they're the only superheroes in Bikini Bottom. There is nothing else there.
Yeah. You talk about like there's no superheroes or just literally nothing there but a sponge and a starfish?
Basically, there's nothing there but a sponge and a starfish.
Well, and a squid.
And the only thing they've got is these aging superheroes that are retired and in a nursing home. And SpongeBob and Patrick come to get them out of retirement to beat up nobody. But the fact is that they are superheroes. They have these superpowers. They've had nobody to fight for like 60 years, but they're still there fighting against injustice.
Yeah. Do you know any of the behind the scenes stuff by it? Like, were they inspired by like the Adam West like 60s kind of TV superhero? It seems like that when you watch them fighting and it comes up with bangs like, you know, subpar, inadequate.
They were based on the 60s Batman, and funnily enough, Adam West and Burt Ward voiced the younger versions of Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy in like 2 episodes.
Oh, there we go. That's certainly a card that is a very good, strong kind of argument. Like, not only were they based on the 60s Batman, but they actually got the original actors to reprise roles of them as younger heroes and younger versions of themselves.
And Disney changed the fact that the people that they were playing younger versions, but the people that were playing the older versions were near enough the same age as Adam West and Burt Ward at the time. So they've got Adam West coming in when he's in his 60s to do these voices, and the person who was supposed to be doing them was actually in his 60s as well.
Well, it makes sense. So, I mean, Adam West did the animated Batman's just sadly before his passing, didn't he? Like, kind of
the Brave and the Bold ones.
Yeah, yeah, that was
it. Adam West played a character in Mask of the Phantasm.
That's right.
Yes, he did. He did.
Right,
well, I think we've just established that legacy is really important in all superhero stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, not just in obviously Superman, but in Merman and Barnacle Boy. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so what were they like as youngsters when they were in it? Was it the same kind of? Did they actually win any fights? This is what I need to know.
It says that they won fights, but there was nobody to fight.
So
that's the thing. They were superheroes with no supervillains. So they would just go about stopping like random crimes, like somebody's littered, and then they would like laser the litter away and then shout at him for littering.
Yes, so they were environmentalists as well.
Aye, well, they live at the bottom of the ocean. They don't want people's scrap floating down.
Well, speaking of the people's crap, Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, that was essentially an environmental film gone wrong, wasn't it, Jimmy? Yeah.
I think the less said about that one, the better.
Yeah. But well, I was just waiting for you to say that for the cultural significance, man. I was going to say, like, there's only been one Merman and Barnacle Boy. There's been several Supermen, several iterations of that character. Well, I was waiting for your. I was like, is he building for a Nick Cage moment here? But no, you're not blowing your load too soon. I respect that.
No, not yet.
But no, that's
I usually save it for round 2.
Yeah. Normally it was round 3 that you got me last time with Hank Scorpio, you bastard. Yeah, we've got some very interesting points there. Like I'll be honest, like, I thought Jimmy was gonna have this in the bag until we got that point of there is literally only one set of superheroes for Bikini Bottom. And it's because there's no one there to fight, and that could either be the Bikini Bottom is a shithole, or that no one wants to go near them. They're just like,
could have inadvertently unlocked the motivation for Injustice Superman. Basically, the only superhero in Bikini Bottom, aka existence.
Which does present the interesting point for the next argument. I am so looking forward to round 2 on this one. Well, it's actually tougher than I thought it was going to be. I thought like Jimmy was going to railroad you, and you'd pulled out like quite a good card. I've got to admit. It's a tough one. I think, but just based on like that pure sucker punch. And because I always love to see it to go to 1 each, and I think in the next round, I think Jimmy is going to own your ass. I
can admit, I think that is going to be the case.
Right, so we can get to the decider round because everybody loves to see the decider round. Well, I will concede. I think Kevin got this one. I was not expecting it in the slightest. I thought we were going to be like a whitewash here. But that card was just quite sensationally played. I've got to say. So Kev gets the one up, but I have a very strong feeling, like 99.999999999% that Jimmy is probably going to own your ass with this one, and that is abilities. So Jimmy, I think it's a redundant point, but yeah, for anybody who is not initiated. Why you're not initiated? Superman. I mean, he's the Jesus metaphor, isn't he?
Yep, yes, His abilities are upgraded as well every time society moves on a little as well, or the publication history or the cinematic stuff. It always gets upgraded so that he can basically be the strongest or most powerful version, which is a central idea that he's so powerful yet incorruptible.
What would you say is his best power? The one that everybody would just go, oh shit.
Like strongest or most awesome?
Well, we'll go for a personal preference of what you think is the most awesome, and then what you think is the general consensus of his best ability, like the one that everybody would want to have.
What, flight? And he didn't even have that in the beginning either. He could only leap tall buildings. That flight.
That was something that I liked about Man of Steel, was seeing how he was trying to master flight as well. And he didn't just show it, all of a sudden he just jumped. He was like, well, hey, I can do this. He had several stop starts and falls and couldn't kind of figure himself out.
And then he just started flying.
And then that was that. So who would you say has been the best actor to put on the Superman outfit?
Christopher Reeve completely embodies Superman.
Even with Superman 4.
I thought you were going to say even in a wheelchair there, but Like,
Not yet. I'm still building up to that.
It was just a mistake, man. Like, it was just a complete mistake. It was a terrible film. Like, Lex Luthor had a fucking horrible nephew played by John Cryer. Had like sort of corners of Milton Keynes dressed up as New York. One night band to pretend it was a hot. Like, I don't know what the fuck was going on.
Yeah.
And there was like United Nations, and there was a guy a superhero made out of Superman's hair that came from the sun. Absolutely bonkers fucking film.
Oh man, what did you watch that film and just think someone spiked my drink here?
I watched it like as a kid and didn't really get how bad it was, but fortunately, like a couple of years later, Batman came out and I was like, all right, so that's a superhero film. They're back.
Aye, that's what it's meant to be. Oh man, what did you make of Superman 3 with Richard Pryor?
I go through phases where I don't like it and I do like it, but I generally like it because you just can't fault Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor is excellent, but it's a Richard Pryor film, not a Superman film.
Aye, I'd agree with that one.
Yeah, definitely. Like you've hit the nail on the head with that one. But so, this is just going to be the funniest question I'm going to have to ask. What are Merman and Barnacle Boy's abilities?
Well, their abilities are they're super strong. They've got super speed. They can talk to fish. So essentially, Aquaman. One of them's got this ability that he can cause like tidal waves with his breath, and the other one has got heat vision. That's how he can like burn up the litter and stuff.
Yeah, that just presents a paradox itself. How do you get heat vision underwater?
That's the thing. They're that super that they can do it.
Yeah. In fairness, like I mean, a lot of the stuff that I've saw of Merman and Barnacle Boy is mainly when they've just got absolutely nothing. Like they are not, one step closer to death. But I've never realized
Barnacle Boy, young man, and there's like only like 2 years between them. The Barnacle Boy's 68, Mermaid's not 70. He's calling him a young man.
I think one of the things that really gave me nightmare fuel was when SpongeBob and Patrick tried to dress up as them. They just looked like gimps. Well, I think
that's what they were going for.
Yeah, it was.
It was an ex-Ren and Stimpy writer that was on for that episode, and he's like, "We'll just do that. That'll be funny."
Yeah, it definitely.
He didn't last long in the working with SpongeBob after that.
SpongeBob had a lot at the start with Ren and Stimpy vibes. Well, because I remember watching it thinking, like, who's hired John Kay? I was like
I don't think anybody's hired John Kay after Ren and Stimpy.
No, especially after the documentary that came out. Oh, Jesus. It's a very interesting documentary for anybody that wants to watch it. And so, yeah, well, it was a very interesting time. Well, at the early SpongeBob's days, like when I first started kind of watching, when it was Merman and Barnacle Boy and stuff. Well, I have to say that I think if it came down to a fight, granted it would be 2-on-1, but if you watch Justice League, like the Zack Snyder one, and even the Justice League, no
one's ever thought of that before.
Well, that's actually I can't take credit for that. That's a YouTuber, Jeremy Johns, that came up with that. Big fan of his. Called it the Justice League. And in either version, Superman owned their asses. Completely owned them. Like the look that Superman gives when he sees can see the Flash running, and he's like, "How can you see me like this?" Bang. Well, it just shows you that, like, in the right mindset, like, he could kick anybody's ass. Totally just annihilate them. It's quite scary to think about, really. Well, if he just switch, if he just let that switch go, all of a sudden, like, you're dead. I mean, even like in the Man of Steel, like, he straight up breaks Zod's neck. And everybody was like, "Yep, he's going psycho."
But in Dark Knight Returns, I mean, I've always quite liked how Bruce Wayne essentially beat him.
Yeah.
I've always liked how he just planned for it for a long time. He knew it was going to happen, and he was he beat him. Like,
no, definitely. I just, in that line where he says, like, I want the last thing you remember is the one person that beat you was me. And I'm like, oh, kick right in the crypto stones.
But then, of course, they cut to the funeral and Clark picks up the heartbeat and just sort of smiles. Yeah,
definitely. It's like, and I always like the one that we talked about, like in the Batman v Deadpool, where Batman had like contingency plans for every single superhero in the Justice League should they go rogue. Well, and it was like, wow, what that highlights the part of Batman that we never got to see a lot of, was the world's greatest detective part of it. You always know he's smart, but it never goes into it. It's more about, like get the shark repellent. Yeah, that's a question. Like, what is the things that could beat Merman and Barnacle Boy, you think, aside from, well, possibly Superman?
Well, their weakness is seaweed.
Seaweed? Any particular reason why it's seaweed?
Because they're under the sea. That's essentially it. They needed something to have a weakness. Every superhero has one. So it's like, what's the most ridiculous thing we could have them have their weakness? It's like, well, they're under the sea. There's seaweed everywhere. If there is ever a supervillain, just chuck some seaweed at them. They're done.
Well, in fairness, it's the same colour as kryptonite.
That's true, aye.
Yeah. Well, imagine that, like, if it just came to like essentially a food fight underwater, so like them throwing kryptonite at Superman, like, Superman just picking up a shit ton of seaweed and just going above. So, right, that's you. I'm off. Right, Aquaman, you're next.
I was going to say, if the left-wing press or anything to go by, non-recyclable straws are probably a bit of a threat as well.
Aye.
Microplastics. Man. Oh yeah, but you see that everywhere. I could see something like that happening, like a Lex Luthor type, just going, right, I've got the best way to take out Aquaman. Let's just get all this microplastic and just dump it all on Atlantis, and that's you. You're at the game. Well, which is essentially the same deal for Merman and Barnacle Boy, I've got to say. And obviously Superman's weakness is the most well-known weakness in the world, and that's kryptonite. But do you know when that was introduced, Jimmy?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know. I think more is his backstory involved and stuff like that. Kryptonite probably came in, but I think also as well, I'm starting to remember. I think it was so powerful that a couple of times kryptonite's been introduced and then later enhanced to make so he's not just this uber powerful guy that cannot be stopped in any circumstance. They had to bring in a weakness because he was such a powerful figure,
Yeah.
And in his home planet, basically, I don't know, made sense as much as any of this shit does.
Yeah. I know it's like I've created like arguments for like some of the stuff that most people in the 60s and 70s would be like, they would get like literally crucified for. If we were talking about all this kind of stuff, they'd be like, those nerds up.
Well, actually, in the 70s, there was a run by that there you can see.
Yeah.
More by Denny O'Neil, which he decided to substantially depower Superman, but make him impervious to kryptonite as well, which was a bit strange. They just like introduced more kryptonite and had the same result, but he was brought down like a lot, so he was more less powerful. But for some reason, kryptonite, fuck knows why he would eat kryptonite, but he was talking about eating kryptonite. Well, nah, that doesn't hurt me. Look, I can eat it now.
Just imagine that, just walking around like, you got any kryptonite, mate? By just snorting it. Oh man. Let's say both arguments were very strong. Kev, you actually threw in a couple of curveballs that I did not expect. I didn't realize that Merman and Barnacle Boy had that many powers.
Aye, it's surprising.
Yeah. Well, and did they ever combine it? Like combine their powers, like like the Wonder Twin thing?
No. They should have done something like that, but they never got that far.
And they've been going for like 25 years. I mean, they've got, if that's an idea they've not came up with, I want the rights to that. But
there was an episode, but it got a bit awkward, and they can never ever show that episode. They combined like
It's like they combine their powers and all of a sudden they turn into
Yeah.
combine their powers and all of a sudden they turn into the R-rated Ren and Stimpy. Oh man.
The world wasn't ready for all that sea spunk.
Nah. The sperm whale jokes will be flying now. Oh man.
I was thinking more along the sea cucumbers.
Well, I hope one day we see an outtake where like their power is just them like taking a dump in the ocean and waiting for someone to swallow it. Right. Well, I think
that's a different website.
Yeah, that's something that we can check out later on after this is finished. But
I'm not going to.
I've got my internet booster now. I'm sure I can find something. Well, Kev, you gave it a good fight, I've got to say. What some interesting points, but I think if it came down to what a straight fight between them, I think Superman's just got it. Even if it's a 2-on-1 and them in their prime, as in their Adam West style years, Superman's just got that one on you, man. I'm sorry to say, but we are now definitely at one apiece. We've got to admit we're one apiece. I did not expect that. So we can go into the decider, and that is universal significance. This is where if we took this character out of their respective worlds, how would it impact the greater genre and the greater culture of their worlds as a whole? So we'll start with Jimmy. If we took Superman out of DC, how fundamentally different do you think DC would be?
It'd be vastly different. I mean, he's the cornerstone of everything. Even although Batman's got all the cachet now, and Batman's got the more films and the more sort of, it could be argued, cultural significance, Superman is the blueprint for all of that. Superman is the blueprint for Batman. So therefore, he's the blueprint for Merman and Barnacle Boy. Because Batman comes from Superman. They're a derivative of Batman and Robin. And Superman does get taken out of DC all the time and implanted into different places. There's all sorts of these analogues of them, you know. And DC have actually then reintegrated these analogues into stories. Like, you know, there's Marvel have got their version of them. That's, I can't remember what it's called. It's
Sentry.
Sentry. Yeah, and it's a corrupt version as well, because Sentry went corrupt, and then there was all the sort of different versions and stuff. And but there was a really sort of interesting period about 8 years ago as well, where like Jonathan Hickman and stuff were picking up on this, and they were kind of referencing each other on Justice League and in the Avengers.
Mm-hmm. That's right, aye.
Yeah.
There was an issue of Superman that I read, and it was Superman versus the Terminator. Have you read that?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, that was, my brother had that. We got that as like a gift years ago. This was back in like proper, like, you know, my left hand was my best friend days. And I just remember reading this, and it was so good. And then realizing that Superman's had so many crossovers with so many different universes as well. And just been flung in. It was like when you heard about the Batman v Ninja Turtles, something that realistically should not work, but so did.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I felt the same way. I think that's a missed opportunity. Terminator v Superman. I think that's it. I think that is one that could have been a cash cow right there. That could have been Alien Predator territory. No, they shot the bed with that one. They really did. So right, we take Merman and Barnacle Boy out of the sea. What happens to Bikini Bottom? Essentially, nothing.
You get SpongeBob and Patrick jumping about pretending to be superheroes, just randomly beating up people for the sake of it.
But at the same time, if they didn't have Merman and Barnacle Boy as their template, would they still do that?
Well, they'd probably just start beating up people for littering.
I would say that would be maybe more of a Squidward kind of thing. I think he's got that right stick up his ass. That he'd be the one that would do that.
And he would just beat people up in general.
Yeah.
Just somebody's walked past him and breathed rang. Thought, what you doing? Slap.
Yeah. Interesting fact I actually heard about Squidward. But apparently like male octopuses, after they have sex, they die. So technically Squidward is a virgin.
Yep.
So no wonder he's so frustrated all the time. He can't get his hole, otherwise he'll croak it. But if you had to choose between a life without sex and death, as Fry said, tough call.
See you later. I'm off.
Yeah, that would just make. Imagine a table of Zoidberg and Squidward. What? Because he's got to choose with the same deal, life without sex or death. Well, that would be some interesting round table discussion.
What would it be Zoidward or Squidberg?
I think I would go Squidberg. I think it goes off. I think it goes off the tongue a little bit easier. That sounded so wrong.
You know, I never thought I would come to the realization that Jedward is obviously a reference to Squidward.
Yeah, definitely.
I
never thought I'd realise that you had a Jedward haircut the night, mate. All in good fun, my friend. All in good fun. But it's something that is just really. It was really interesting when I heard that. I was like, okay, so he's a virgin. That's confirmed, but they've not confirmed who isn't a virgin. Well, I think like the only one that seems to have got
Merman and Barnacle Boy. Remember that episode?
Yeah. Well, we don't talk about that episode. We don't talk about that episode anymore. But I mean, I've got to say, I think the only person in like SpongeBob lore that I think has probably gotten laid, ironically, is Plankton, the one that keeps trying to steal the Krusty Krab formula because he's married to a robot, so you've got to fuck it. And he's small enough to literally fit inside her. He could cause so much damage in there. He could literally like make her not be able to reboot for a week.
That's like going down the Ant-Man and Wasp.
Oh man. Or like the Thanos, if you will, like, you know, the whole thing where it was like Ant-Man could have just flew into Thanos' anus and resized and just blew him up from the inside. Well,
things are taking a turn.
They're taking a turn, but well,
they usually do.
As you realise when you came on that Metal Ginger show, I'm a massive fan of tangents. And it's not just that Metal Ginger show. That's just that Metal Ginger. He's a fan of tangents. Well, but it does open up a wider, interesting possibility. Imagine. I'm going to pretend my screen's frozen now just to hide my embarrassment. But yeah, imagine do you think SpongeBob and Patrick, if they didn't have Merman and Barnacle Boy as their kind of superhero kind of mentors, so to speak, do you think they'd more go down the supervillain route? I could see Patrick. I could see Patrick turn into that because he's so stupid.
He'll take any suggestion and go with it. And you tell him, see if you go dig a hole there for like 3 days, you'll find a treasure, and he will not stop until 3 days.
Mm-hmm. Well, or find the treasure, he'll just keep going.
And then he's stuck in the hole because he can't swim.
No, definitely. Well, I just always remember the episode where they had to go to the trash collection, and he's like he's fighting. They basically turn into like, you know, Transformers and trash cans fighting each other because like he doesn't want to give up his trash because he loves it. And I'm like, okay, this is so certainly interesting. I could honestly see Patrick going down like a super villain route, like definitely, or at least a very, very capable henchman because he's so dumb but he's so strong.
Mm-hmm. Well, the only people they've got to look up to is Mr. Krabs, who's an evil villain.
Yeah, he
Plankton, who's an evil villain, and Squidward, who's just a villain.
Yeah, no, he's just a virgin. We've established this. but no, the Krusty Krab, I think Krusty Krab is the Lex Luthor of SpongeBob SquarePants. Obsessed with money, has a secret formula which could classify for Lex Luthor as his kryptonite. For taking anybody out, and is constantly at war with Plankton. And always trying to make sure that he just goes and just takes apart the entire Bikini Bottom world. Because they all just literally come to him for their food. And if it's called the Krusty Krab and it's Krabby Patties, it's basically cannibalism. He's just like feeding them bits of himself. It's Hannibal Lecter.
He's feeding them all the other crabs because there's no other crabs. Yeah.
It's like he's just went out and just took out the entire crab population. That's why he doesn't want to give up the formula. He doesn't want to be revealed as the Hannibal Lecter of Bikini Bottom. So it's very interesting. We have now went down like a SpongeBob metaverse here. Well, just from Merman and Barnacle Boy. I'm very intrigued by this. This could be our own little canon spin-off. Like I talked with Jimmy about my Jor-El ideas. We could have something here, my friends. This could be something that Nickelodeon will be like, okay, you can do it, but go to Adult Swim.
And John Kay cannot write a single episode.
If he wrote a single episode, we would all be screwed.
Love your pitch, guys, but we've had trouble with him before.
Oh yeah, it's like we don't talk about John Kay. No. But yeah, and it's certainly an interesting thing. Like, if Superman was plucked out of the equation, who would Lex Luthor fight?
Well, that's the thing. See, in All-Star Superman. Do you remember it? Yeah, like the story.
Yeah, I remember it. But for anybody that maybe is watching this and isn't aware of All-Star Superman, give a kind of brief synopsis for what it is.
It's basically pretty much like it sounds. All-Star Superman. It's kind of like the ultimate Superman story by Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely, which means the whole thing was created here in Glasgow.
You can't beat a bit of Glasgow.
You can't, no, Spin. You can't fucking definitely beat a bit of Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely. But the character Quintum is the guy Quintum, the sort of zany scientist pal, that's kind of based in Hamilton. Well, there's a fan theory that that's actually Lex Luthor.
Really?
Yeah, it's Lex Luthor after Lex Luthor fights him and basically ensures that Superman has to go into the sun for 1,000 years. There's no Superman. But Lex Luthor learned from Superman, and he dedicates his life to becoming a better person, goes back in time and becomes, I think it's Professor Leo Quintum.
Yeah.
And it's a fucking brilliant idea. Because Superman's influenced him, but without Superman in his life, he stops being Lex Luthor and becomes a completely different person. There's a few moments in it where it definitely to him being Lex Luthor.
Yeah, it's kind of like what it was in the last season, like Gotham. Like when Bruce Wayne finally goes away, like when Gotham needs me, I'll return. Like the Joker, or their proto Joker that they'd made goes out of commission, and it's not until Bruce Wayne comes back that he's like, he's back. I'm back in action. Well, and it's the same kind of deal. What the
exact same Dark Knight Returns as well. Like the minute Batman starts getting seen, the Joker comes out of a coma. Like comes out of a it's not a coma. It's what do you call that when people don't talk, communicate at all?
It's kind of like it.
Locked-in syndrome.
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh, Batman, bat signal. Oh, let me get my makeup on.
Yeah. It's basically like the way they tried to parody it doing Dumb and Dumber 2, when he just went into like a kind of for 20 odd years. Well, they just at the end, you should have seen your face.
He's laughing cleaning your shit for 10 years. That is the thank ever. Yeah.
To be fair, that would be funny to have somebody do that for 20 years. Got you. What?
I'm planning on doing that, and like, see, after my 40th birthday, I'm planning on faking dementia for about a month and make my kids clean my shit. Well, I'd just be like, right, payback's a bitch, buddies.
You just told everyone, so you can imagine how that's going to go.
Well, in fairness, my boys won't be watching this.
But I didn't say that in a podcast. I can't remember. Like,
what did it say that? What? What's a podcast?
Are you sure I said that? Are you sure? Maybe you've got dementia. Yeah.
That's my bloody memory. That I don't remember that. Clean my arse. Oh man! But do you think, like, if Superman wasn't there, do you think that by accounts, like, Kara wouldn't be there? We wouldn't have a Supergirl, like Superboy, Superdog.
Yeah, because I mean, Kara's got different origins, though. Like, that's not well, man. Like, but I think it's all remnants of the Kryptonian civilization that come along with him. Superman, central thing that it all comes from,
Aye, it's like if there was no Superman, you wouldn't have like all the other ones that were kind of springing up from the ground, so to speak.
My girlfriend's in a kind of 80s kick just now, and she's like, "Oh, I watched Supergirl," and I was like, "What the fuck did you do that for?"
Oh my god! Well, I would take season 1 of Supergirl with Callista Flockhart in it over that garbage.
I thought, well, now's the time to find out. Larry, now that you've watched it for some fucking reason, do you know why Peter Cook's in it? Just like, no, I don't even know who he was.
Oh my God.
Not when he watched it, what he was actually doing in it, because it's too frightening.
Yeah.
See, we were slagging off Superman 4, but we completely forgot that fucking Supergirl even existed until this moment.
Yeah. If I hadn't brought up, like, do you think Supergirl and stuff wouldn't have existed without Superman? We wouldn't have got there. It would have remained like a good shite. It would have remained undisturbed. But no, we just had to. I had to be my usual nosy self and figure everything out. And yeah, we just unearthed that dumpster fire. But here's an interesting question for you, Jimmy. What did you make of the Superman and Lois series?
With Tierney Hatcher? I've not watched any of it yet, but I've heard good things about it.
Yeah. Very interesting. Very interesting. What did you make
I've seen season 1. I've not seen. It's an interesting concept.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've heard
it's not really been done.
Yeah, I've heard good things about it. Well, I know it helps that they have like Tyler Hogan from from their established universe. The only thing that I don't like is see the actress that plays Lois. She gets on my tits. It's because she was in a program called Grimm. And her character in that was just annoying. I cheered when they killed her off in series 4. Then they brought her back in series 5, and I'm like, oh God, why did you bring her back? Jesus. So she
was called Grimm. They're wanting to make you Grimm.
Grimm. I was in a fucking. I was like on the verge, man. What the rope was ready. I was like, tell my wife it's been interesting. Well, it was just that, and then so when I heard that, it was getting what Lois was getting cast, I'm like, well, hey, and then I found out who the actress was. I was like,
I haven't seen any Grimm.
Well, Grimm's really good. It's from the same guys that made the Angel series.
Right, is it? Yeah.
It's essentially it's modern day Brothers Grimm tales. It's really good. It's got And first, I'm not like slagging the actual actress that plays her, like Bitsy Tulloch. What is her name? She has a really good actress, and she must be. She made me hate that fucking character for 4 years. You're meant to like her in the first 2, and I'm like, she's annoying. Get her there. She was Skylar for Breaking Bad. You just want her to go away, let him do his killing. Yeah.
Have you been watching Better Call Saul?
Oh yes. Oh hell yes. Well, I've never been so invested in lawyers in my entire life.
Did you notice how much the last episode, the mid-season finale, that we wouldn't give any spoilers for?
Yeah, no spoilers.
No.
How much that and a couple other things in this season have completely mirrored Ozymandias.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
That episode there.
Yeah. It's been yeah, again, no spoilers, but yeah, I know the stuff you're talking about. It's just wow. Again, they're doing more successfully in 5 years of Better Call Saul than any of the Law and Order has done in 2-3 decades.
Did you ever see the Community episode where they done a Law and Order?
Yes.
It was the Ass Crack Band.
Yes. Oh my God. Dan Harmon has a lot to answer for, my friends. Oh man, it's fantastic.
Complaining about Law and Order all the live long day, but at least we got that episode of the Ass Crack Bandit. You know what I mean?
Definitely, man. But that also ties into if Superman didn't exist and not just his own universe, but our universe. There's so many things that would be impacted. For example, I don't think things like Rick and Morty would be on the scene. Or it would be on the scene, but in a different kind of way. Because they've got a lot of inspiration from Doctor Who and stuff like that. But a lot of Captain America might not even really be in the frame, because Superman and Captain America are essentially kind of mirror images of each other, and they're kind of the righteousness. They're both jacked up superhumans. The only difference is Superman is an actual Jesus symbol, and Captain America is America.
That's the thing about Captain America. Captain America is fascinating because he stands up to authority. He stands up to enemies, domestic and foreign. So if the government goes against the government, Captain America's kind of incorruptible too.
Yeah.
Steve Rogers.
He's not beyond killing, though. Captain America will kill if he has to. If that is the way he sees it, and he sees he needs to kill this person for the end game, he will.
He's got a pass, no murder.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but Man of Steel just instantly takes that argument out of the game.
Taste for it.
Yeah, that was something that I always liked when I watched. Did you ever watch Arrow when it was on?
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the season 5 episode, and he's getting tortured by Prometheus, and he finally breaks Arrow to say that he wanted to kill his dad and that he liked killing, and that was something that was never, not even like once like Batman ever had the courage to ever go down and admit that a hero that you were supporting liked to kill. I was like, that's a really good thing. And the best part was when it got out of that situation, they didn't just go next episode and just totally divert from it. They dealt with the fallout of him having to deal with that revelation of how he liked killing, and he admitted that he did. And he's like, what type of person am I? It was a really good moral story rather than just being straight out fighting. But in fairness, I think Arrow is basically, Batman in that world. But at the same time, it was good. And John Barrowman and anything, I mean, come on, John Barrowman's awesome. But I just think John Barrowman's amazing. But can't help it. He's also got a bit of Scottish in him. Can't beat that.
I hope he'll be back for Russell T Davies' new Doctor
Who. I hope so.
Aye.
But I mean, there's all that kind of. When a party at John Barrowman's house must be insane. Well, I'm thinking next level Michael Barrymore, George Michael kind of parties. Well, I think we could get there.
What the next level there is?
I'm sure someone will hit that level.
That guy in a swimming pool was too rich for my blood. Fuck knows what that's.
Oh man. Well, I'm trying to set a record of how quickly we can get cancelled. I think we're on this could be the 5th or 6th episode. So I've not broke the record. I was threatened by cancellation in the 3rd episode of Mental Ginger Show.
Just one of those parties that gets cancelled.
Oh, aye. Definitely. That'll just bring down the entire platform. Oh man. Well, in fairness, I know we've had a couple of tangents, but there have been some very good points made on both sides. Jimmy, you've hammered home the case of Superman, the couple of questions that I've thrown at you, you've been able to spitfire them quick. But we've essentially looked at SpongeBob and Patrick and been they would more go down the supervillain route if they didn't have Merman and Barnacle Boy. But we've already established that we've built our own superhero universe in feckin' Bikini Bottom ourselves without them. So based on the arguments, while there have been good points made on both sides, hopefully I'll find some drum roll music. I can put that in the edited credits. But I personally think that Jimmy's won this one. I think Jimmy had it. The couple of questions that I was firing at him, he was able to come with good answers. Whereas when we were talking about the Merman Barnacle Boy stuff, we more went into tangents rather than being able to get back to the point. And I think that was what swayed it.
Again, the thing is, if you took those two away, doesn't really change too much. Whereas, if you take Superman away, that's essentially taking DC away.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Well, you even take my logo away. My logo is based on a Superman emblem as well, but with a G.
Let's make this like the Oscars, right? I've won Best Film, but Kev's won Best Director. That's how they usually say it, like the Oscars.
Yeah, I would say so. And for me being here, I'll just give myself an award like Best Cinematography.
You can't give yourself an award. For fuck's sake, I know it's your show, but come on.
Why not? See if the Oscars could do it, I could do it. Well, half the Oscars the panel are all ones that have won it in the past, so screw it. I'll give myself an Oscar. No one else is going to give me an award. Fuck it. But no, Jimmy, I have to say, deserved winner. You done very well with some of the points thrown at you, especially for your first time on and debating. You kept a nice cool head and brought up some interesting points and some good banter as well. I have to say, it's the first time that we've had like a guest over Zoom. We've recorded a couple other ones which will be on the platform soon, but I've thoroughly enjoyed your arguments, my friend, and finding out a bit more about Superman, and Kev, especially finding out about Merman and Barnacle Boy. I need to swat up my SpongeBob, man. And it's been certainly an interesting one. So the outright winner it's got to be it's Superman. Superman just wiped the floor. It was more of a contest than I expected. Hey, an Action Comics one as well. Very nice, very nice.
That's all that is, by the way. You thought that's a mural. It's actually just the graphic novels laid across my couch.
Yeah, I just thought it was just. Well, it was just like you were just dropping like subtle hints for what was coming.
Ever since I started doing Zoom in the lockdown, I started laying my comics right along there. That's Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman sort of biographies by Les Daniels.
Oh, nice.
And then Justice League, Invisibles, Flex Mentallo, Grant Morrison books. And I just always put them there when I was doing Zoom shows because that's what people done in the lockdown. They made sure people could see their bookcase and shit and their posters up and stuff. This is who I am. I don't care if this is a parish council meeting and we're all going to fight. You're going to see who I am. Some people had their fucking dildos on their fucking bookshelf, man.
I was impressed by the girth of that.
Do you know what I mean? Be who you want to be.
Yeah, that's that whole you be you, live life and all that stuff. Each to their own, but man, her husband must have been gutted.
She's not got a husband. That's why the dildo was.
Just think about it.
On the other hand, was fucking over the moon.
The only thing that I would have loved to have seen, I know it was on BBC, but I wish there could have been an advert for Duracell afterwards. That would have just made it better. The Duracell bunny just popping up there, got to go faster. Or you find out that she's like the representative for Sonic the Hedgehog too.
That'd be brilliant. It'd be amazing if that was actually product placement and she got £1,000.
All that was missing, it was just some sort of advertisement or something like that, and just afterwards just to really tie it all together. Just having an advert for a Swedish made penis enlarger pump. Yep. It's interesting times. That's actually because we always try and think of someone who could potentially fight in the next round, then we try and leave it to our audience to decide who's going to go up against them. We just brought up Sonic. That could be an interesting one. Would you count? Would either of you say that Sonic is a superhero?
In the films, I guess he is, because Jim Carrey plays the villain guy, doesn't he?
Yeah, you say Dr. Robotnik. And very damn good, I've got to say.
Yeah.
Well, I was always... and Idris Elba as Knuckles. That's just perfect casting. That for me. So I was Knuckles was my favorite character. Was they brought out comics for UK exclusives and just loved the backstory that he went in with Knuckles. It was just fantastic. Just absolutely brilliant. That could be one that I would potentially fight for. I would fight for Knuckles. Super fighting. We'll do that.
Well, if we're going down that route, is Mario a superhero?
Not really. He's a plumber on mushrooms.
He's not even got a brother.
Yeah. It's like the entire world could just be all in his fever dream. Which makes sense, because who the fuck would come up with Bowser? That wasn't stoned?
The Mario film. Is it not Chris Pratt's going to play Mario or something?
Yeah, Chris Pratt's scheduled for everything these days. Chris Pratt is just everywhere. He is
another 5 year, not only somebody else.
Yeah, get another 5 year and Chris will just be, sitting there going, that part should have been mine. That part should have been mine. Just sitting like Ben Stiller at the end of Dodgeball. What fucking Chuck Norris. I could definitely see that happening. That would be an interesting one, like Sonic v Mario, but yeah, I just think that Mario's a crack addict. But it explains you could go down a whole rabbit hole with that one. Wario is his his subconscious demon trying to get him out of that drug fix. What, you know, Bowser is the dragon that he's got to keep chasing. What?
Bowser, clearly the taste for speedballs, and Bowser represents smack.
Definitely. What? I mean, God knows what Princess Peach represents, but yeah, I think that's just a lot of sexual frustration in that title of her name. What in the end? You can even go down the route with the shells, like, you know, firing that one blue shell that takes you out straight away. That could just be sex life.
It's been taken out.
Yeah, a one-shot jump. What? And of course, we all have to avoid the banana skin. Guys, I've had such a blast on this one. Like, Jimmy, as usual, you're just brilliant to talk to. You're good for banter. What
you know, it's nice to meet Kev.
Yeah, yeah. My Padawan is learning the ropes as we speak. He's doing a fine job.
I get the line. Impressive, Kev, but you're not a Jedi yet.
Not yet.
Yeah. Well, in fairness, like, Jimmy, you've actually gave Kev his first defeat. He was on an undefeated streak. What?
Fucking Count Dooku.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you basically, like, you've just like
next episode you get to chop my fucking head off. No way, man.
I would say that, like,
episode.
I would say that, like you were more, like, yeah, the Count Dooku, but Kev's been Darth Maul. You just sliced him in half. Well, you'll just see him returning for another round with you going, Kenobi. Oh, man.
Okay, finish him now, and me go, oh!
Well, I think if you just turn up saying finish him now, we're just going to go back down that banned episode for Merman and Barnacle Boy.
Greatest cinema history in it when see that Anakin on you go, man, he's a dick.
Oh my God. That's almost as funny as, like, you know, when you done your stand-up about Thanos. What you've got?
I done Red Raw in Monday there, and I completely owned the concept. I just said, "Have any of you seen Infinity War? Because half of you cunts need to go. Like, at least half of you need to die." It's so much better if you just completely, like, because you don't really want half the world to die. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but you can see the point.
Yeah. It's only answer to climate.
Yeah, it was like we were all sitting and we were just like, I mean, I'm sitting in the cinema and I'm like, is it bad that I want Thanos to win?
Well, I mean, he did win. You just don't watch Endgame again. And he
Yeah.
has won.
Yeah, you just stop at Endgame, and it's just the most anticlimactic thing in the world. Well, at the time of this recording, I've released why I'm not going to follow on with the multiverse after this. Well, and one of the things is, like, so much content that you're going to have, people are going to have to watch, to catch up with us. I mean, imagine if, like, my kids who are 4 wanted to watch Spider-Man No Way Home, and I'm like, whoa, boys, right? First, you've got to watch Spider-Man 1, 2, 3, Amazing Spider-Man 1, 2, 3, Captain America: Civil War, Just Infinity War, Avengers: Endgame, Spider-Man: Homecoming, Spider-Man No Way Home, Far From Home, Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and then you can get to No Way Home. What?
I just watched Doctor Strange as well, though.
Oof, I know. That's what I'm like. I'm just like, I'm out. It's like, I've got the content I need. See you later. It's like any time it gets to multiverse territory, I just feel like people they're just starting to box. They're writing themselves into a corner. You could just tell it's that it all take is one wee slip with the writing, and the nerds will be all over them.
The reason they're doing this multiverse is to get all the Fox characters back in.
Mm-hmm.
You know that Disney's bought Fox. They need a reason.
Mm.
But the best way to do it would be get Deadpool, just draw in a cartoon of all the Fox characters, and then say chuck it into a book saying MCU, and then that's them in it.
Yeah,
there you go, sorted.
That was like the meme that I saw on Facebook, and it was like all you see is like Deadpool at a computer, and there's a hard drive of X-Men, Spider-Man, and he just basically goes copy and paste, and he just goes there, all caught up, and that's it. And I thought, could work.
I'm really looking forward to Deadpool and MCU, man.
I have reservations about it because it's so PG-13, but or 12A for us in the UK. But well, Ryan Reynolds has got more control, so it's still there's still hope. Well, it's the same deal with the Marvel Netflix series. Like, I loved them because they were gritty and they were like for mature content. Well, and now that Disney's kind of got its teeth in it, they could just be like, well, that was a different multiverse. This is a different version of them, and it's more child friendly. Yeah. Still same guy, but yeah.
I don't know, man. I've got high hopes for Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, I think Kenobi's going to be good. I think it's got to,
that ending, Revenge of the Sith, man, is like the fight bits and all that. It's so fucking good, and it's going to be good to pick up on where they are 10 years after that. You know?
Yeah, we've had time, and more importantly, we've had the bad taste of the sequels to make people really appreciate the prequels.
Yeah, totally, man.
Yeah,
I think you're a bit younger than me, aren't you?
Oh, I'm 35. How old are you, Kev?
39 next week.
39.
I'm 45, man, and I really like the prequels. Like, I mean, I could see people had issues with them and stuff, but I always knew there was going to be people who grew up with the prequels.
Yeah,
and that was their initial Star Wars.
Aye. You know what? It's like I'd seen the original Star Wars, but the first one came out from my generation was Phantom Menace. And don't get me wrong, parts of it I was like, what is this? But overall, the lightsaber fight alone just made up for it for me. And having Darth Maul in it, and I was like, please, we got to have more of him. And that's why I love the Clone Wars. Yeah. Anybody who has not watched the Clone Wars, like, trust me, watch it. It's like season 1 of Breaking Bad. You give it, you just like roll with it, and then from season 2 it gets so much better. You just roll with it from there. Mm-hmm. Well, the Zoom producer is starting to give me the timer again. I hate Zoom. Damn you, Zoom! I just treat you like my
as well, actually, because we would have fucking talked all night, man.
Oh, I thought we'll need to like just do like another one where we don't even bother like picking the fight. We just go, right, this is all the nerf stuff that's been happening. Let's just fire in.
Did anyone see whatever was on last night? And then we'll get to this point again.
Definitely. Mate, I'll need ideas for content.
At the end, Obi-Wan Kenobi. How's that?
I think that's actually a good shout. I'm actually going to be doing a video with a guy about debating if the Jedi are actually superheroes. And if I could time that for the Kenobi release, analytics, that'll go through the roof, my friends. Jimmy, it's been a pleasure having you on, man. Thank you so much. Again, your knowledge is invaluable. Kev, as always, you're learning on the job. You're doing well. Unfortunately, your streak's been broken, but we will keep on going. So until next time, my friends, our special guest today has been Jimi Longmuir. Please give it up for him. Thunderous applause. Dolphin clap. Yep. And until next time, Kev is super.
And he is Ginge.
And we are out of here. Bye.